Bring me the next shiny new thing. Bring me the next.
The Pickleball
shiny
CHIX
new
are
thing.
obsessed with America's fastest growing sport, pickleball. Get ready for on and off the court hot topics. Lots of laughs, cocktails and champagne with your hosts, Annie and Rebecca.
Okay, well, we need to talk about the drink of the day, and Annie has a great one today.
Ooh, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Rebecca.
yeah.
So our special guest today is Ritchie with BLQK, co-founder and owner of
He's awesome.
Oh, he is awesome.
Yeah.
Of Major League Pickleball team, and they really have been showing up already in 2023. They
Yes.
were coined as
They were coined as the first Pickleball Dynasty, which I think is so cool. And that was back in 2021, I believe. I mean, who would want to be that?
exactly. So our special drink of the day today, Rebecca, shall we?
Ooh.
Is the BLQK Teeny.
Ooh. What's in it, Annie?
Oh my gosh. Well, it is really a combination of everyone's favorite, the espresso martini, but it's made with something very special. BLQK espresso.
Ooh.
That's the first ingredient.
Well, we want to support our guests.
Yes, we do. So we will start with just a little of that in the martini glass. Okay.
Yes.
Just a little. Ooh, or a nice.
This is getting
Just a nice
exciting.
amount.
So if you're at home, make sure you get your stuff out. And if you don't have the ingredients for this, you obviously know, as we've talked about before, make sure you get a little something that you really like. That's your drink of the day.
Yes, because we're all about bringing joy.
Oh, that's our, guess what? Word of the day.
And we believe in that for sure.
So if you are listening and you hear the word joy,
Have a
have
sip.
a sip.
So we are now going to add the vanilla vodka
Oh,
and a little bit of Bailey's to really make this so beautiful and so lovely. So we have a little bit here for Rebecca.
that looks good. And I don't know if you can tell, but Annie had on her rim sugar. And what was the other? Is there something other than sugar?
Well, pink.
I saw the pink, and I saw all the glitter and sparkles and stars.
Yes. And we're using just a little honey on the rim because we know so many of you espresso martini drinkers are health conscious. So just a
True.
little bit of honey. And
And
now we are
pickleball
topping,
players.
and pickleball players, we're topping it off with a little more BLQK
Ooh.
espresso.
Ooh.
Okay, well, here we go, Rebecca, shall we?
Well, let's cheers to a wonderful interview with Ritchie and all the joy we are going to have.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. That espresso.
That actually, I don't have any
Mm.
after that because it's so delicious.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
really good. Really good.
We will attribute that to the espresso from BLQK.
That's delicious, Ritchie. Nice job.
So remember, when you hear the word joy, have a sip. Cheers.
Delicious. This is one of the best drink of the days we've had.
Well,
Congrats.
thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you to BLQK.
Thank
Really.
you.
And again, who doesn't love an espresso martini? They're a great pick-me-up, just like pickleball.
Just like it.
And we're really excited about today's guest because we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of really the beginning.
Of
Of
pro pickleball. Yes.
So this is really exciting. And again, for all of you who are playing pickleball, or those of you considering playing pickleball, the joy. Oh, shoot. Well, I did that on
yes.
purpose. Okay. Cheers. But truly, the joy of playing socially, the joy of playing competitively, if you'd like, or on a ladder league, or participating in tournaments. We continue to talk about some of these cool PPA tournaments where you play with the pros. And follow the Pickleball CHIX because we are going to be sharing with you many moments
And you're going to see in depth of all kinds of fun people this year.
Oh, we are so excited about 2023.
Yes.
And then also the APP. We were just there this past weekend or a few weekends ago, actually, now that I think about the date, back in Punta Gorda.
Yes. It was great. Awesome play. And it was so fun to watch those players. So much passion. Parris Todd and Hunter Johnson rocking the mixed doubles championship. Wow. I mean, that was a great game to watch. I mean, gosh, that's great pickleball.
Oh, so great. And Parris Todd with Simone Jardin.
Oh, that was fun.
That was really fun. And Parris, as you probably know by now, did earn her first triple crown in 2023.
Yes. I mean, she deserved it. She really played great. Really played great.
Absolutely. And there's so many exciting opportunities for you to get involved with pickleball, be it in your local area or traveling to somewhere fun to play. And again, follow us for more details. Always feel free to DM us for information. We'd love to help you out on your pickleball journey, won't we, Rebecca?
Yes. And if you're thinking about, should I go and play? What do? You play.
And so manifest more pickleball. Should we get started with our guest?
We should.
Okay. We have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Ritchie Tuazon with Team BLQK. We are so happy to have you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Ritchie.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
So I have to just say, now I heard you were coined the first Pickleball Dynasty in 2021, back in the day when pickleball wasn't necessarily cool yet.
No.
So how did that all come to be?
Yeah, so I met Steve Kuhn and Brooks Wiley through Christine McGrath. So Christine McGrath was helping with the BLQK Coffee Company here in Los Angeles, and she called me up and said, "Hey, I just met Brooks and Steve, and they're starting something called Major League Pickleball. Seems like a pretty good idea. You may want to give them a call." So I called Brooks and then talked to Steve. I remember talking to Steve for over an hour when I was on vacation in Hawaii in the summer of 2021. And, he just had such a great vision for this all. He threw together that very first MLP event in 2021 in like 3 months. It was insane.
Cool.
But it was that was one of the most fun tournaments I had ever experienced. And fast forward to now, we've got 3 times as many teams as we did then, and it's wild, yeah, how quickly everything's grown.
Wow.
Yes.
And so it was 8 teams originally, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Wow. And now we're at 24.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
It is. What do you think about the number of teams now? How do you think that works for the whole MLP?
Yeah, I think we grew a little bit faster than we would have liked to ideally, but when we merged with Vibe Pickleball League, the PPA team event, this was just sort of a byproduct of that, right? So we ideally wanted to get to like 16 or 18 teams because we thought that the talent was better suited for that many teams. But given Tom Dundon had promised a handful of teams to people he was talking to, we needed to go to 24. And so this Premier and Challenger League construct that you probably know about is kind of how we resolved that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. We were at the draft in Vegas.
We were at the draft.
Oh, I didn't see you.
We saw you.
Yes, we did.
Right behind you.
We and it was so exciting. And congratulations on your
Yes.
number 1 draft pick, Andrea Koop. I mean, she's returning to your team.
Yeah.
That must be
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah. I mean, having seen her battle so many times during that first season, she really held the team together. There were a few times when it felt really dicey in terms of advancing, and Andrea was just such a rock that entire tournament. And she played even more in 2022 than she did in 2021. So she improved as well. I know there are a lot of other players that in the sport that have improved at a very steep pace. But she actually played a lot more in 2022 than she did in 21. So she also has been improving, even though she's sort of probably in the second half of her pickleball career.
Well, you know what I remember from the draft is when they called her name for your team, just the chant from the audience, Coop. It was so fun. It was just so exciting to be there, and congratulations to you and your awesome team for 2023.
The draft was really fun. I mean, I'm so glad we went to that. It was just really great.
Were you able to hang out for a little bit afterwards and have cocktails and stuff like that?
Well, we had to play in the morning. And so Steve Kuhn, actually, I went to high school and graduated with him.
Okay.
And so I said hi to him, and then we had to run out because we were playing first game in the morning.
8 a.m.
Yeah. And so we really missed out on all the excitement.
Okay.
But we were there for most of it.
We were. Now, that brings up an interesting question that we have for you. The date of September 21st, and is that called the redraft? Is that what that's called?
Yeah. So let me look at the schedule right now. I just let's see.
Now, weren't there 3 games, and then for the first?
Yeah, there's
season?
3 tournaments, and then there's a draft, and then September 21st is actually the first tournament of the second 2023 season. So BLQK will be in the Challenger League starting in the second half of the year, where the first tournament is September 21st. So the draft is probably going to happen sometime in July, I would imagine.
Oh, and where is the draft? Are they going to do a big deal like they did?
It's unclear, because I think the way that came together was, PPA had already had the Vegas thing planned. And as we were talking to them, it felt like, okay, well, we may as well just piggyback off that.
It was cool.
There may be an event in July or August where it may make sense to do a big draft reveal again. But I think that's still undetermined. But
the draft, I just think it's such a great media event, and it just brings so much more attention to the sport that, I mean, what a great idea.
Oh,
yeah. It was nice that they all got to get dressed up, and
oh my gosh,
JW in his leather jacket. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we love that. Kind of going to another topic regarding BLQK. Tell us about your coffee company too. I mean, very interested about that and your initiatives.
Yep. And how you connected with your co-founder and owner, who is Justin, who is the Super Bowl champ. Love it.
Yeah. So Justin and I have been friends here in Los Angeles for about 8 or 9 years. We met playing golf together. So we both play a lot of competitive golf, and are members of the same golf club here in Burbank. And when all the Black Lives Matter stuff started happening, I think I talked to Justin, and he sort of felt like he needed to do more, or wanted to do more.
Yeah.
And so this coffee company was his way of doing more for the community. And so the premise behind the coffee company is he's the majority owner of the company. It's a Black owned company that donates 25% of its profits to social justice.
Wow. Nice.
And so it's building courts, donating to kids that are high achievers. And so when I bought the team, it was still sort of like a little bit of a Mickey Mouse thing, right? Like we
said before, pickleball was cool.
Yeah, like it was like, oh, like I could probably name this anything I want. It doesn't really matter. Like we're all just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
And so because Justin was trying to grow his coffee company, I thought, hey, I'll name it after the coffee company, and hopefully that'll gain exposure for the coffee company. And
wow.
Then, yeah, and so that's how it started. And then 2022 happened, and then Gary Vee bought a team, and then Drew Brees bought a team, and it all sort of snowballed, and then pickleball continued to grow like crazy. And then now we're here, and it's starting to feel pretty real.
Yeah.
From a league standpoint.
And I love your branding, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. Yeah, Justin has a really good eye for design, so I think that's really a function of his style.
That is really neat. And I noticed that he has a quote, "Don't let anyone steal your joy."
Mhm.
And what we love about that is that pickleball brings so much joy to everyone of all ages, all skill levels, whether you're playing recreationally, you're in a league, whether you're in tournaments, of course, the pros. And pickleball really has changed a lot of people's lives. And it's fun to be a part of this. And
Yeah.
and so wonderful to spend time with you and learning about some of these interesting facts that we didn't know.
And we're really coming along for the journey as everybody else is. There's another draft. What? There's
Yeah.
another, association.
Yes.
Yeah. When did you both start playing pickleball?
A year
Last
ago.
year.
Yes, in Marco Island.
So we're in Marco Island now in Florida. And last year we started, and Annie and I just fell in love with it. And everybody was out for dinner and we're like, we got to get to a pickleball court from 4 to 6.
That's right. And when your husbands are boaters and would like to go have
Right.
a nice dinner, 4 to 6,
It's
you have-
difficult.
you have to come in from boating early and
Yeah.
you have to go to dinner later. And my husband, in Marco Island, Florida, there is a term called Marco Midnight, and that's 9
At
p.m.
9 o'clock.
Okay.
So you
So
can
4 to 6 is prime time.
you
Yeah.
can see that gap there. But we really did fall in love. Thank you for asking. And we would love to ask you also, when did you start playing pickleball?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started playing in January of 2021. So it's been 2 years now. One of my daughter's friends' parents invited us out to play at the local courts. And I grew up playing ping pong in my basement with my two brothers. Like I'd never, I took a few tennis lessons, but never took tennis seriously. But was pretty decent at ping pong, and that's kind of one of the interesting things about the sport. You don't need to have a tennis background. So yeah, just fell in love immediately, as most of us do, right? Most of us that are still in the sport just sort of fell in love immediately, and it was, starting January 21, it was like, when can I play next? That was sort of always the question.
That's how we felt.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. As a matter of fact, over the weekend, I think we mentioned to you that we were watching the APP games and we watched Parris earn her triple crown, and it was so exciting to be there. And of course, she says hello to you, has such respect
she did.
for you, and I have to say that was such a great experience. But I have to, again, we wanted to get on the court after that. We wanted to play.
Right.
As you're watching, it just, when you are bit by the pickle bug, it's real.
Right.
But I would say that's one of the coolest things about MLP, by the way, is so if you go to a PPA or APP tournament, they generally are running amateur tournaments alongside the pro tournament. So you go and, like, if you want to play, it's probably pretty difficult to get a court because all of them are being used by these amateur tournaments. But at MLP, I don't think they're going to be running any amateur tournaments alongside. So you could actually go and just meet really cool people and play pickup games with people that you meet at all these tournaments. So I'm hoping to play against you two in Daytona Beach in March, because, I was looking at the schedule in Mesa, Arizona.
Yep.
They have 41 courts. So,
oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, so if they're using 5 of them for pros and 5 of them for warm-up courts, that probably still leaves 30 courts available for just kind of pickup games, I would assume. And then at Daytona Beach, there are 49 courts.
Ooh, so we will see you there.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing. What level are you two?
Well, we
like to stick right around 3.
3,
5.
Yeah, good. That's great.
Yes.
What level are you?
I think my duper is like a 3.75 or something like that. But
Perfect.
Yeah,
We'll be there by then.
I feel like we're probably pretty close.
We're working hard. We're working
We
hard
are.
on
We're
our
training
skills.
hard.
Yeah,
Yes.
we really are.
Yeah.
We really are. And speaking of duper, your team has a pretty nice duper rating, doesn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think it's one of the bottom 4.
It is
of the 12 teams. But then when you kind of break it down, I think Andrea Koop is just like grossly underrated. I could probably pull it up here on my phone.
Well, we looked Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Let's see what.
I mean, we love her.
We do love her.
Yeah.
She's, again, we really love, as you had mentioned earlier, Ritchie, she has that mental capacity, that team play capacity to bring everyone together as a cohesive whole.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
keep moving forward and stay in that game.
Yeah, I think the Duper rankings have her as like the 10th or 12th best woman, and I think she's, I think after Annalie Waters, I think you can make an argument for any one of like 6 or 7 players.
Yeah.
And I would probably put their Duper, if I had to rate them, I'd probably put them all equal. But that's kind of why, if you look under the hood, why our team Duper is a little bit lower than most of the Premier League teams. But I would argue against Andrea's rating being that low.
I would too.
Yeah.
She is phenomenal. And you were all just at the
In California.
the Masters.
Yeah.
And didn't Dylan and Frederico, didn't they do pretty well? Didn't we have a bronze and a silver?
Yes. Yeah, so Fed, he did well in singles. He made it to the finals against Colin. So we actually, our team, got silver and bronze in men's singles.
Ooh,
So
nice.
That was neat.
Nice.
I think Dylan and Anna Bright had a tough loss against Jay and Callie. So they lost to Ben and Anna Lee, which is probably no surprise. So they went to the back draw. Then they lost to Jay and Callie, which I think they were a little bit upset about. Dylan had a pretty good men's tournament, so he and JW almost took down Ben and Colin. Yeah, that was pretty close. I think that was the quarters, I want to say.
Yep.
And then they didn't have a back draw, so they didn't have a chance to play for bronze. I don't think.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then Maggie Brascia and Mary actually beat Vivian and Georgia, which is a pretty incredible
Wow.
pretty incredible win. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I thought they did great this past
We were
weekend.
so sad we missed that.
I know. We had hoped to get
I
there.
know. We had
So
planned.
I think you two, given your style, would have liked the all white.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was pretty
I
neat.
know. We saw them all white, and I was like, "Oh, son of a gun!"
Oh, that is
Yeah.
so true. And how,
Thanks for noticing.
yes, absolutely. I know Rebecca always likes to ask a few special questions of our
Sure.
guests. Would you mind answering a few more
Of
questions?
course, I'd love to.
Okay, so who, if you could play with anyone, it doesn't have to be a pro, it doesn't have to be a pickleball player. You could play with anyone as your partner, could be mixed, it could be men's, whatever. Who would you select?
And so are we playing like in a tournament and the
Yeah.
objective is to win? Or
You know what?
Social play?
Social play.
Social play.
okay, if I could play with anyone. I know there are a lot of really famous people playing nowadays, but maybe Barack Obama. I feel like he'd be a pretty good one. Like I feel like he'd be competitive. He's coordinated. He plays a lot of
that's cool.
basketball, and I feel like I'd get to ask him a lot of questions about everything. I just feel like he knows so much. Like I feel like it'd be unlimited questions for him.
That's a really good. We have had such fun answers,
Mhm.
and that's cool. That's cool, Richie.
That is a cool one. I think
Yeah.
this podcast is going to open the door for that opportunity.
I think.
Yeah, let me know.
Let's get it on the books.
and hit me up on IG or something like that. Right?
That's exactly right. I love that.
Okay, the other one we always ask, and so in your pickleball journey, what has been your favorite moment throughout all of this?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh God, there's so many. I would say it's the team dinners. I mean, we're always, I've had the pleasure of having 2 amazing teams. In 2021 we had Ben, Irina, Rob, and Andrea,
Mhm.
and I have some friends that always come with me and help cook meals, and that was the trip that we made. We had pasta, and Ben would make like blue cheese omelets, and just like sharing meals with them and getting to know them was just so awesome. And then I actually was able to have the 2022 team for 3 tournaments, and we sort of broke bread at every single one of those tournaments, and just being able to hang out with them. You know, I think winning obviously would be the obvious answer.
Right.
But you know, just getting to spend time with them and getting to know them and their families, I think was definitely the highlight for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's so funny is that Parris Todd, when we talked to her the other day, she actually said, I asked her the same question, and she mentioned being on your team and that you guys had so much fun and would have dinners together. So that obviously is a rocking time.
Yeah, it's just good.
You've got
it's
something
like,
cooking there for dinner.
I kind of feel like if you're a pickleball player and you're constantly on the road, I know they have to play like between 20 and 30 tournaments a year now.
Yes.
with the PPA contracts that they have. I don't imagine they're getting home cooked meals very often.
Right.
So just to be able to do that for them, I feel like puts them in a good mood, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, it's always fun having drinks with them after they've won. That's always a pretty fun time. So
that is so neat. You know what I was thinking?
What?
We are going to prepare a special menu of some Minnesota/Marco Island, Florida special treats. And maybe one year, we can cook for you and your team.
Yeah, that seems amazing. I mean, yeah. How far is that from Daytona Beach?
Oh, not far. And we will be there, actually.
Okay.
How far is it from Daytona Beach?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. We're very, very south. We are in between Naples and Key West, so it is a little ways, but we will have a beautiful place, so we could make that happen for you and both.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yes.
Daytona Beach.
Yes, that sounds great. Ooh, that sounds great. So tell me, what was your favorite meal that you've all enjoyed?
So the owners of the Bay Area Breakers own a meat company. And lately the meals have been David Mercado grilling these huge bone-in ribeyes. And
wow.
And you know, so he does that really well. So I'd say that has been one of the highlights for sure. Like he's getting like these, you know, like these Kobe's and like these.
That's where I want to live. That's that's right.
So
that's where I cook.
They're pretty special treats when they're around and helping to cook. And all the owners of the Bay Area Breakers are actually great cooks. So when that team, if you could ever get into one of those team meals, you should definitely.
Well, that's inspiring us for Daytona Beach. Maybe a little surf and turf and some beautiful cocktails and wine, champagne to go with.
Love it.
Ooh,
this
was exciting.
So what do you see? What are you envisioning for the upcoming 2023? Do you have any highlights? That will be coming up?
I think there's a few just from a player standpoint. How is Matt Manassi going to do in the Challenger League? I think there's a lot of controversy about, you know, him drafting himself. And a lot of players thought that he wasn't really deserving. But then, you know, I talked to Scott Crandall this past week, and Scott is insistent that he's ready and he's going to be great. So I can't wait to see how he does. I'll be rooting for him. You know, he's here in LA coaching at a place called Riviera Country Club, which I'll play there every now and then. So I'll be rooting for him. Sam Querrey, I played golf with about a month ago. I'll be rooting for him. I think a lot of people are doubting him as well.
I like him.
He's a fun guy, really great guy. In the Premier League, I'm obviously excited about how our team will do, but just watching that New York Hustlers team and all that adrenaline that's going to be flowing through that team with Tyson, Rafa, and Anna Bright and Lacey, that's going to be at the very least a very fun team to watch, and we'll see if they can kind of get their energy flowing together to get some victories. But they've got an awesome team.
So, is your daughter involved in all of the pickleball? You mentioned her.
Yes, so I have 3 daughters. They're 12, 10, and 5. And again, speaking to your point about bringing joy, we have a place out in Indian Wells. So we were out there this weekend, and every morning we'd go out and play. And just to watch them play along, the adults would play a game and the kids would play a game, and to see all of them play amongst themselves with their friends, just brought so much joy to me, just seeing them playing, and even like drilling, drilling the 5-year-old, and watching her like just make contact with the ball. Like she's still at the point where she's not making contact every time.
Wow.
So that it's just a different kind of joy, but like one of those things I feel like now that I'm on my, she's my third and last, I kind of feel like it's a wake-up call that I need to stop and smell the roses, of appreciating, that tender age.
Oh,
And
so
it is
true.
a great age. And when you have little kids, you forget, and you're moving and grooving all the time. So you're lucky that you have that time. And pickleball has brought that to everybody.
It really has, and I think that's one of the things that we love about it. We love being mothers. We're very family oriented. We're business owners outside of our Pickleball CHIX company, and our children are at the center of everything. Now, I have gone past your years. My son is 26. My stepdaughter's 28. So I'm in the older years, but every age and stage brings a certain level of joy and excitement, and such a privilege and pleasure to be a parent.
Yeah.
And that brings me to one more question. Do you mind if I ask you one more
please.
question? So we know about your ownership with your pickleball major league team, which is so exciting. And thanks again for taking some time out with us today. Tell us about outside of pickleball. What is your career outside of pickleball?
Sure. So I am a portfolio manager for an investment management company. So we manage mutual fund money. So if you are saving for your retirement, or I don't know if you're already retired. I don't
just say we look like we're in high school.
You look young enough to
Let's call it a day.
That's for sure. So I manage that mutual fund money, and I invest it in the bond markets and try to make it grow faster than the broad bond market. Yes. So I'm in the markets. I'm up here on the West Coast. I wake up at 3:34 every day, starting, and I start work around 5, and I'm just staring at screens like currencies, interest rates around the globe, and making sure I'm investing in the right things. So it's actually the same business that Steve Kuhn did. Steve Kuhn grew up as an interest rate trader, before he started his own hedge fund and then did all of that stuff. So that's kind of why the two of us get along so well. We kind of think about the world similarly.
Oh, that's cool.
That is interesting.
That is cool.
Yes. My 26-year-old is in finance.
Okay. What
as
is
an
it, a he or a she? Okay.
He just was promoted to associate with JP Morgan.
What's funny is my first job out of Berkeley in the year 2000 was an investment banking analyst. So I did it at JP Morgan for 3 years. And then instead of trying to become an associate like your son, I went to business school instead. And then I moved to the trading side of Wall Street. He was entertaining all of those ideas. After college, he worked in LA. Okay.
And then he moved back to the Chicago area to work with JP Morgan. So very interesting. That's a great
place to learn. I'm sure he's going to do so great, and he's going to have so many different opportunities because he's learning all the skill. He's learning all the financial skills you need to kind of do anything in business. So congratulations on that, because that just seems like such an accomplishment for you as a parent.
Thank you so much.
And he's a great kid. So
yes. That's a whole nother podcast.
We can talk about kids. Ask me about my daughter.
And that goes back to our family values. And that's one of the things that Rebecca and I have so treasured about all of the fabulous people we have met in the pickleball community. Truly, everyone is very family oriented.
And so welcoming and inviting. It's just been a really fun journey for Annie and I.
Rebecca, tell us about your daughter.
I love to. Well, she's in law school.
Great. Where?
In Minnesota, Mitchell Hamlin.
Good.
Yes. So that's what she's up to.
Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Yes. We're always chatting up our kids.
Absolutely. And that's how we know each other. We've known each other for a few decades as girlfriends and mothers and wives and
class
business owners and
yes, and
class volunteers.
Yes.
Party planners. We love parties.
Yes,
Oh.
second grade Valentine's. We will take the boxes.
Oh, so much fun. And goodness sakes, we really have enjoyed getting to know you. And
Yeah.
and thank you so
thank
much.
you
for
so
your-
much. Yeah.
And let's think about connecting in Daytona
Well, I think we should play no matter what. Like that.
with your team.
Let's do that for sure.
Okay.
We are going to work on the menu as soon as we end our podcast. We are going to work on that.
Yes.
Send that over to you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll all be
Well,
there.
have a wonderful day.
Yes.
And thank you again.
Yes. And good luck to BLQK and to your beautiful family. And looking forward to seeing you very soon.
And
Yeah,
all your
definitely.
success in
Yeah,
2020.
thanks. And thanks again for everything you're doing for the sport. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We appreciate that, and we send that right back to you. Thank
Yes.
you for spreading the joy and the love for pickleball at all levels, for all ages.
Yeah. That sounds
Yes.
great. We'll see you in March.
Sounds great. Thanks
Okay,
so much
take
for your
care.
time.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Well, that was a great guest.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you, Ritchie, right?
Yes. Annie, we have to talk about our Valentine's Day collection.
Yes, we do, Rebecca.
So check it out on our website. We have so many fun things. And if you can see our sweatshirt, and it's kind of a sweater, on what we're wearing, and then there's a fun Valentine's Day logo on it and stuff. It's so cool. You're going to want it. So make sure you get on there. And if you use, what is our code?
Our code is Love Pickleball.
Oh, yes. If you use that code, you get 20% off. So who doesn't want that? And you're going to want to order it by the end of the month to make sure you get it back by Valentine's Day. So don't forget your pickleball partners that have worked hard for you.
Yes, and don't forget about those loved ones at home who say go play pickleball because we love you. I mean, love is in the air.
Ooh.
Pickleballchicks.com.
Now, don't forget about me, your pickleball partner.
You know, I never would.
Perfect.
Visit us at pickleballchicks.com. That's CHIX. And don't forget to use the code LOVEPICKLEBALL for 20% off through February 14th. And you know, we have been playing at so many different courts here in Florida, and everywhere we go, people are interested in our clothing and our
Paddle Pick Ninja.
And so it's been really fun because we have fulfilled a lot of orders for paddles and for Pickleball Chicks clothing, and we're having a lot of fun. So we really wanted to say thank you. Thank you for your interest in our cool stuff.
So you'll find in our show notes the link to these specific items, but other people had been asking a lot about our visors and our hats, our kind of distressed hats. Those two will be on there.
Yes.
So get them. Get them while they're in stock.
Yes, because we are running out again. Let's order some
I know. And we're all trying to do is make pickleball awesome. And what is Steve Kuhn saying for MLP?
Oh, yes, that's a good one. So by the year 2030, we are looking at 40 million by 2030. And the growth of pickleball is just amazing.
It is amazing.
Truly is the fastest growing sport. We get asked all the time, okay, how do you play? How do you get started? Why do you love it? Well, it's easy to get started.
It is.
Go anywhere. Most places will offer you a paddle to use.
Yep.
Most people will be very excited to share with you the process of scoring and how you go about playing.
Everybody loves to help. On the pickleball court, you are going to feel welcome like you're part of somebody's family. So never worry about getting out on the court because you're going to feel welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
So cheers to a 2023 and see you on our next podcast.
Bring me the next shiny new thing.